Hey, how's it going? My name's Angel Muniz, and today I wanted to give a review on my experience with Lexapro. So Lexapro has been prescribed to me for anxiety and panic attacks. It was prescribed to me back in February. I just started taking it about 2 weeks ago. Just to give you a little bit of a backstory, what happened was, I had started feeling in early December and throughout January a little bit of like overwhelming feelings coming over me. Maybe it was like after dinner or something like something that would bother me. It would be like almost like a shocking pain, like right here, my left side of my chest, that would like almost like shock my neck almost. And it worried me. I did express to my wife like the worry I had about it, but I didn't think too much of it to where I went to the hospital or anything like that. And then come late January, I had woken up like about 8 in the morning, and I kind of felt like a little bit like worried, but didn't have anything on my mind. Like I had just woken up, and I like turned over in my bed, and I honestly I didn't know what was going on. I felt like an overwhelming sensation like come over my body, almost like a jolt. And as soon as that happened, I don't know what it was that came over me, but I felt like I was losing like strength in my arms and my feet, and I felt like I was gonna pass out. So I got worried, and I guess my adrenaline kicked in, and like I started like pacing back and forth. Like it woke my wife up out of her sleep, and I was like yelling, like telling her like something's going on. I don't feel right, and to prevent myself from passing out, because essentially that's what I felt like what was gonna happen. I honestly marched back and forth in my house to start feeling normal, or to kick that feeling of that I was gonna pass out. Now, I should have went to the emergency room at that moment when it was at its highest peak, but I didn't. I guess that was like the machismo side of me. Like I wanted to take care of it at home, and hoping it was nothing serious. And throughout the day, like the feeling would come back, not as strong as it was the first time, but it was anytime I would hear like it's like a door slam or something, or somebody talking loud, or people talking about something that I didn't like hearing, or just anything was irritating me. And it was Super Bowl week, I believe. So I wasn't able to enjoy the game. Like, not that it's a big deal, but like it was just little things like that. Like it was annoying me that the TV was even on. So when I noticed the feeling wasn't going away, I told my wife, I think I want to go to the emergency room, and we headed out, went to the emergency room. I kind of felt like my heart was racing still, like I don't know if it was from being nervous or not. And the doctors checked me out. They said my heart rate was normal, my blood pressure was normal, and I'm a pretty big guy, so like it was that right there was starting to. That's where the annoyance began for me, because I honestly didn't believe that my blood pressure was normal. I didn't believe that my heart rate was normal. I felt like they were already writing me off. And so when they did a chest x-ray, they didn't find anything wrong. So there was a bit of a relief on the doctor and my wife's side, but for me, I was more bothered that they weren't finding what was wrong with me. So, I started to ask more questions like, can I get this, that done, certain tests. And they were telling me I had to go to my primary. And, I was worried. I was like, well, what if something happens to me in the meantime while I'm waiting for my primary to set an appointment with me? So, they're like, your vitals are okay right now. We'll send you home. You'll be fine. So, I went home, and, the following day was okay. Still had the feeling of anxiousness, the feeling of like something was going to happen. And the day after I came back from the hospital, I was going to bed that night, and I was feeling all right. And as soon as I laid down, like I started feeling like my heart was racing, and I wasn't doing anything strenuous. And I had to get up, and I stood in my kitchen for an hour straight, just breathing in and out until the feeling went away. And eventually it did calm down. But then I'd say like around 3-4 in the morning, the feeling came back. It made me even more nervous because I was pretty much halfway asleep. And I told my wife, like, I need to go to the emergency room again. So I went to the emergency room, and went to the same emergency room. And once again, like, as soon as I got there, they were like questioning me, like, weren't you here yesterday, like, or day before yesterday? We checked everything out. Nothing was rare. Nothing crazy was going on. And I told them, like, yeah, but I don't think the anxiety or panic or whatever I'm going through, whatever you guys diagnosed me with, like, it shouldn't last this long. It shouldn't keep coming back. Like, I don't have too many crazy things going on in my mind, And they asked me, like, are you going through anything like strenuous? Like, are you going through anything stressful in your life? And I told them, I was like, no, I'm not going through anything crazy. Like, they're like, have you gone through anything in your past? And, I told them, like, the only traumatic things that have happened in my life, my father, he passed away in 2016. And, my dad was, he was a huge part of my life. And that was a huge loss to my family, like a tremendous loss, not just to his children, but to everybody, to his siblings, to my cousins. Like he was the person who literally held everybody together, kept everybody in check. And when he passed, like I felt like things haven't been the same since he passed. So that was one traumatic experience in my life. And then another traumatic experience that I had was when I was, I believe, 26 or 25. I had gotten shot 3 times. And obviously I survived, thank goodness. And I never put too much thought into that. It was a fluke. Like, I wasn't out there looking for trouble. Trouble wasn't looking for me. It was just some random kids, trying to prove themselves for some whatever reason. And as soon as I said that, the doctor was like, "Oh, that's what it is. It's stress. It's catching up to you." And I'm like, I'm 34 years old. I think these things would have caught up to me by now. I would have, been having panic attacks when my father passed away. Like, I have asthma. That was the only thing I went through was asthma attacks when he passed away, because it was just such a shock, and like just the hyperventilating. That's what caused the asthma attack. So, it was irking me. Like, why are these people writing me off so quick? Like, why aren't they taking me serious? Like, I felt like my life was ending within a couple of days. And when it came down to wanting to see my primary, like, I was like, no, like, I want help now. Like, I want to get everything checked out. So at the emergency room, they took me upstairs. They put me on a treadmill. They did a stress test, and the stress test came back like perfectly fine. Like I was on the treadmill for 5 minutes at like a high velocity, at an incline, and I'm a big guy, like I said, and I was tired. I was out of breath, but nothing was going on with my heart. Like they weren't seeing anything. And when I was on the treadmill, like it actually felt good. Like it felt good to let that out. But then as soon as I got off the treadmill and they took me downstairs, like I started feeling like I was like coughing and like going through all these crazy things. And so they're like, we don't see anything wrong with your chest. Like you're just coughing because you were out of breath. So I was like, all right, like maybe it is stress. So then went to my primary like 2 days later, and the primary, she said the same thing, that she's experienced that her entire life. And, I show all the signs of it. And mind you, like, I'm accepting everything, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, it's eating me. Like, I feel like it's something else. I feel like there's something else wrong with me internally. Like, this can't just be stress. And she prescribed me with Lexapro and clonazepam. And she told me, the Lexapro is going to make you a bit more anxious. You're gonna feel crappy for the first 10 to 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, but just keep taking it and it's gonna get better. So I did not take any of the medication that she prescribed me for a very long time, not up until maybe 3 weeks ago from today. And today we're in May. It's May 11th. So like the symptoms of everything I was going through, they kind of subsided, and they did go away for a little bit. And then this whole quarantine thing happened, and still in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, there's probably something wrong with me. Like I'm gonna start seeing another doctor, hopefully, like, and I'm gonna get a bit of a more thorough check. And mind you, like when I spoke to the primary, she also tried to give me a peace of mind by sending me to another doctor to get a 24-hour Holter monitor, to do a pulmonary functioning test, to get a chest ultrasound. So all those things came back okay, which, like I said, it gave me a peace of mind a little bit. So it kind of bothered me more. Like what aren't they finding? Like, why are all these doctors wrong? Why can't they find what's wrong with me? And I started seeing a therapist just to try to eliminate that. Like, oh, I need a therapist to talk to let out the stress, just to satisfy everybody. Like, I'm doing everything possible to relieve the stress so I won't feel like this, and to show them, like, look, I'm still going through this. Like, there is something wrong. Like, I need to find out what is wrong. And then during the process of going to see a therapist, quarantine happened, COVID happened, and I was feeling okay throughout the first 2 weeks of the quarantine, and just out of nowhere, one day I was sitting in my living room, and I felt like almost like a bubbling feeling, and all of a sudden, like, the overwhelming sensation came over my body, and I just felt my heart racing, like, very fast. And I always tell my wife, whatever I feel, no matter what it is, just so she knows what I'm feeling, where if something were to happen, she can explain it to the paramedics or whatever, God forbid, if anything were to happen. And the overwhelming feeling was, it was powerful, more powerful than the first time. And I was like, man, like, this is it. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna take it. And with my therapist, he gave me some breathing techniques, and he said, just breathe in, and once you breathe in, hold that breath in for about 4 seconds, and then after that, release it and hold that release for about 6 seconds. So I did that, and it was making the overwhelming feeling go away, little by little, and like the feeling of impending doom, that feeling started to go away, and like something was like clicking in my mind, like this could be stress, this could be anxiety. Like I wasn't doing anything strenuous, like it came out of nowhere. So I was like, all right, maybe these people know what they're talking about, So I told my primary what was going on, and she was asking, like, so the medicine's not working, like how long have you taken it? Did you stop taking it? And I told her honestly, like, I didn't take it because I was worried about the side effects. And she was like, I had a feeling it would happen again. A lot of people do get turned off by the thought of experiencing more anxiety when they're already going through something, when they're already having anxiety attacks. So she understood, and she told me, like, I promise it's gonna get better. Just take this Lexapro, 10 milligrams every day. Take it whatever time of the day. So I did. I started taking it, like I said, about 2-3 weeks ago. I've taken it every day, and I was still having the anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and I told my therapist, and I told him the medicine I was prescribed, and he didn't guarantee me, because he can't guarantee that it was going to work, but he reassured me that, like, it was going to be okay if I did take the clonazepam, because the clonazepam it's what calms you down when you are going through the anxiety or panic attacks or more stress. So he said it was okay that I take it with the Lexapro, just like my primary said. So I was like, all right, let me give these people the benefit of the doubt, and like I tried it. I took the Lexapro, I took the clonazepam, and the Lexapro, like it took me to a whole nother level. Like I felt like my chest was caving in. I felt like I had like a fever. I honestly thought I had the COVID-19. Like I thought I was going through it, and I thought like this was it. Like this was about like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I told my doctor, it's like this Lexapro is making it worse. Like my chest is hurting. I ended up going to urgent care twice. Urgent care didn't find anything wrong with me. The feeling that I was feeling, like I was getting like pinching feelings in my chest. I felt like the middle of my chest was like caving in, and it was scary, and I didn't know what to do except panic. And I took the clonazepam for the first time, and like it calmed me. It was a relief. And my main reason for not wanting to take the clonazepam is because the side effects that I see people talk about or complain about, that they're afraid they're going to get addicted to it, that the dosage is too high. So what I did to kind of reassure myself that I was going to be okay is that I broke the pill in half. So I think I took like a 0.5 milligram, and just with that 0.5 milligram, within like 30 minutes to an hour, I was feeling a little bit better. And my primary, she told me that, if I did continue to feel the chest pain, that she would send me out to do another ultrasound, or to do a cardiovascular check, just to make sure everything was okay. Now, when I was feeling those pains, like she told me everything that I was feeling before I told her. I just told her I was going through some things, and she was like, you feel like you have a fever, you feel dizzy, you feel like you're having a heart attack, like all the things that come along with the Lexapro and anxiety mixed. So I was like, okay, like, and she knows what she's talking about. And I was really grateful that, you know, she convinced me and she reassured me that, you know, it was going to go away. Now there are times where when I wake up, because I take the Lexapro right before I go to bed, so if I do have any effects, I don't feel them because I'm in bed or I'm sleeping. I have a good night's sleep. I've tried to stay away from the clonazepam as much as I can and deal with what the side effects are for the Lexapro on their own. And for the most part, it's okay. Like, I wake up with a bit of like a tremory or a trembling feeling. That feeling is accompanied with like a bit of dizziness or like almost like if I'm spaced out. And I believe that's from the serotonin that's flowing through your body. I'm not sure, I'm not a doctor, but you know, looking at those side effects for the Lexapro, like that even worried me after taking it too. Like, it said that you can get serotonin syndrome. It says that your body's going to drastically lose weight. Gain weight. I wish it would help me lose weight. But yeah, it says it makes you gain weight. It retains a lot of water in your body. So I was just nervous about that too. So the anxiety was still kicking in a little bit. But all in all, like, everything that I was gonna go through with these side effects, these doctors, therapists, emergency room doctors, like, they all predicted what I was gonna go through, even when I didn't believe it. And like I said, I'm grateful for it, and it's definitely a game changer for me. The clonazepam, I have a 90-day supply, and I've honestly taken maybe 10 like whole tablets, and that's because I've broken them up into pieces to dissolve. I don't need a full 1 milligram. That half a milligram, sometimes I break that half a milligram into half as well, and that's enough to help me go to sleep or calm down when I'm having an anxiety attack. So, you know, even being shot so long ago, almost 10 years ago or 9 years ago, even after losing my father 3 years ago, 3.5, can't remember the time frame, but after losing him, those two things were the most traumatic experiences of my life, and I didn't think they would sneak up on me like this. I thought I was going to die when I got shot, and the only thing that went through my mind was like, I'm never gonna see my son again. And then losing my father, just imagine him in the hospital fighting for his life and him thinking the same thing. never going to get to see any of his children or other family again. He was very young, and his death was very unexpected. And seeing him pass away right before my eyes, it was hard. And when he passed away, I didn't find myself crying at any point. I was more in shock and scared. The death of my father, it also gave me a realization, one day I'm going to die, and my son is gonna be the one at the end of my bed. And when my father passed, I was so scared. I was scared to come close to him, to come close to his body. And all I could do was stand at the end of his bed and just touch his leg, touch his foot, and just feeling the warmth of his body going away. I don't know how I held any of that in. And I've only expressed 3 times how I felt about losing my father. One was to my wife. Second was to my grandmother. And the third to my therapist. The impact that his death had on me, it changed me. It changed me a lot. I was once a funny, goofy person, and I felt like I had a better outlook at life. And it went away. That drive went away. And it definitely changed who I was. My humor turned into dark humor. Just my perception of everything was negative. Everything around me, I found something wrong with it. I would find anything wrong with it. And that change brought a lot of stress in my life. Stress that I didn't know was affecting me. Now I can say that I do feel that my stress, my anxiety, my panic attacks, they come from a place that has never been explored. I share my experience because this is what I was looking for. This is what I needed. I needed somebody to tell me what they went through. All the symptoms, it was leg twitches, it was chest pinches, shoulder pinches, chest pain, feeling no shortness of breath, like if I was losing my breath, but just like my heart racing and adrenaline, impending doom feeling. All of those things were symptoms, and I felt like there was nothing out there that would make me feel better until they found something wrong with me. And it kind of, I feel like it made it worse until I did something about it. So now I do brief meditating. I do grief meditating. I see my therapist twice a week. My wife and I, we go to couples counseling just to work through everyday normal marital disagreements or issues, concerns. You know, it's not like we're going to see a marriage counselor because we want to leave each other. Like, marriage counseling is one of the best things we've ever done for our marriage, because there's somebody else there that can analyze from the outside, and they don't tell you who's right or who's wrong. They teach us how to compromise or how to respond to each other. Because to be honest, a lot of the anxiety and stress as well, like, it comes from relationships. Like, no marriage is perfect. Like, I have a beautiful, loving wife who would do anything for me, and I would do anything for her. But there are disagreements. There are ups and downs. But, you know, with the marriage counseling, I can honestly say that there's more highs than lows now. And us going through marriage counseling is also what helped our marriage counselor realize that we individually need therapists as well. So that pushed me a little bit more to see a therapist. So I really hope that my experience can help somebody get through hard times like this, especially with the quarantine. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to help somebody get over their anxiety or get over their stress, or give them a peace of mind. But just know that there are other people out there like me that go through these similar experiences or have gone through them, and there's a light at the tunnel. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you have to be okay with reaching out, with letting everything out to begin this process. You have to get into an uncomfortable position and release whatever emotions you have. And there might be times where it's going to be difficult to let those emotions out because you're worried about saying the wrong thing. But that's going to add to the stress even more. So when you are ready to let it out, it's going to be like a river that's just flowing, and it's going to make things 100 times better. So I want to thank anybody, even if it's just one person who watches this entire video. Thank you. If you have any questions, send them. I'll respond as soon as I can. And I look to do more videos. I've actually wanted to do a video on the story of me getting shot and the experience of losing my father, like right in front of my face, like right in front of my eyes. So look for those videos. I will post them in the coming weeks, and I will post my 2-month experience with Lexapro as I continue to take it. So thank you for watching, and I hope this helps.